Welcome to Terra Talking, the podcast that's named after the blog that's just me, telling stories to offer help, healing, and hope as you journey into your passionate, purposeful, and prosperous life. Thanks for coming along on the ride, and now on to today's topic. Hello and happy Tuesday, Grow with the Flowers. Today, what I wanted to come in and talk about, so as always, I'm here to riff on loving yourself, loving the heck out of yourself, because it's not something that women hear. Oh, this is annoying. It's not something that women hear enough. We hear take care of ourselves, right? Like go get facials and get some Botox and stay looking young and work out every waking hour that you have and eat thus and such and look a certain way. Not a single bit of that has anything to do with actually learning to love yourself. Sorry, there is a cat in my lap and he has no boundaries. He keeps bumping my hand. Get down. So learning to love yourself, and if you've watched more than one or two of my videos, you will have heard me say this, repeat this, and this is my lifelong mantra. Learning to love yourself is far different than self-care. Learning to love yourself means accepting yourself exactly who and how you are, and learning to uncover parts of you that maybe haven't been allowed to come to the light of day in a long time, because you're hearing and believing stories of people who said, oh, you can't do that, or maybe you don't sing that great, so don't sing anymore. Pieces and parts of ourselves have gotten buried and kind of shoved in back corners and not fully allowed to come up to the light and be loved because of stories that we believe, because of beliefs that we hold about ourselves based on usually something that someone else has said to us or something else that we've learned or inherited throughout life. I am so sorry that this light keeps doing this. So as I was kind of making my notes for today's video, a couple of friends were talking about the Netflix show Love is Blind. If you have seen the show, if you have watched this show, I want you to drop an emoji in, whether you're watching the replay, whether you're watching this live. Have you seen this show? Have you heard about it? Have you seen discussions about it at least, and know what the premise of it is? For people who don't, and first of all, if you have, like, I am down to discuss reality TV anytime you feel like, let's start a conversation. You started in here, go to my Facebook page. Like, I am here for this. But the premise of this show, Love is Blind, is that the women live separately and the men live separately, and they meet in these, what they call pods. And it's just a room. There's some comfort items in there, couches, blankets, whatever. And they have these dates with each other. And at first it's just kind of randomly selected. Oh my gosh, I've got to do something about this. The blind or something. So they have these dates that are, they're sitting in these rooms. They can't see each other. And that's really the premise of the show, is that they are talking to each other without seeing who they're talking to. So it's not based on physical attraction. It is based purely on personality and how they connect and how they speak to each other. So that's the premise of this show, Love is Blind. Except that after about a week, they said it was only 5 days on the show, but I read somewhere else that it was actually closer to 10 days that they are kind of hopping back and forth. And then at a certain point, they can start to pick who they want to go on a date with. So they could say, like, oh, I want to go on a date with, this one or that one or whatever. So they're in these pods having these conversations with each other. And at the end of this 7-10 days, whatever it actually is, they could propose. The man could propose to the woman. I guess in theory, the woman could propose to the man too. And one of the couples that actually did happen, although don't even get me started on that girl, because I think that she is a few fries short of a Happy Meal, and that it's not as happy-go-lucky as they make it seem. But I digress into what I think are some major problems with this show. So the problem is that in a situation like this, and what you see is these over-romanticized situations where, and now all of a sudden after a week of just talking, and oh my gosh, I read the same book when I was a baby, and oh, I went to that same restaurant one time. Like, this is not a lifelong connection. What they are doing is creating strong feelings that are having emotional reactions and thereby emotionally connecting to someone. And that is one of the strongest connections. I mean, it's why moms fall in love with their babies as soon as they're placed on their chest. It's a very emotional situation. And can it be a form of love? Absolutely. Do not deny that. You can learn to love someone quickly or feel like you love someone quickly. But when you're talking about a lifelong marital commitment, no way can you absolutely know that in 1 week, because it's not real life. Because real love, and this is, I'm getting back to my actual point, real love, including, and probably most importantly, love for yourself, comes through the really hard times that you go through. The really hard things that you can look back on yourself and say, man, I'm so proud of myself for that. Or I didn't think I would survive that, but I did, and here I am. So that's where I will never buy that this Love is Blind show can actually set you up for true, lifelong, committed love. That can come. Each of these couples has the opportunity to grow into that. But the show kind of forces them to get married after a month, 6 weeks, something. And in those 6 weeks, there is no real, true life issues happening. You're not going through a terminal illness. You're not seeing, can this person actually even be around? If you want kids? If you don't want kids? It's such a false sense. But what it does do, and what I think it's almost doing a disservice to so many women, and I say women mostly because I don't think that dudes buy into the fairy tale as much as women do. And if I'm wrong, correct me. I'm sure that there's men out there who do, just as there's women out there who don't. But I'm saying generally across the board, sorry, I don't think that men are as much about the fairy tale, sweep me off my feet, I fell in love with you after 24 hours of talking to you type of stuff. I think that women tend to build this expectation up that that's how love is supposed to be and look and act and feel like. And that brings me to more of what the point is of this one is that we all, like the women in this show, we want to be chosen. And it's, for a lot of us, that starts with, we want to be chosen by the person who we're going to be in love with for the rest of our life. We want to be chosen by our soulmate. We want to be seen and known and heard and loved. And we have this expectation that that's going to look and feel and be a certain way. We set ourselves up with these expectations of how we're supposed to be loved and how that's supposed to look and how we're supposed to feel. And we tell ourselves this story that we are owed this, that we should demand this kind of love. And yes, there is a certain aspect of having a boundary around knowing that something is love and something isn't love, right? Like abuse is not love. Narcissistic gaslighting is not love. So it's okay to have some expectations of what love is and what love isn't. But when you have this expectation that life is supposed to be this happy-go-lucky fairy tale and that you deserve to be treated a certain way, not have the expectation of, that you'll be treated like a human being, but when you feel like you deserve to have flowers every day, you deserve to have a foot massage at least once a week from your lover, you deserve to have all of this stuff without doing the opposite side of that work, which is, are you deserving of it? This is where expectations get set up and then not met. And in that contrast between your expectations that you have and reality is where so many people start to struggle. struggle in their marriages, struggle in their life choices, struggle with just feeling like this isn't what I signed up for. And you're right, it's not. And it's not necessarily the fault of the other person. It is because you have allowed yourself to have expectations that are, unmet. When we start to become disillusioned with life because it's not living up to our expectations, and we think, I've been doing the hard work, or I've done this, I have, we say me, and we keep it so focused on ourselves and what we've done and what we deserve, and yet we aren't giving that same love to ourselves. We're expecting it from other people, but not giving it to ourselves. This is where disappointment, anger, depression, anxiety, all of these feelings start to come in because of these unmet expectations that we have for the world, for our partners, for our bosses, for our money situation, for anything around us. We feel like we should have been more or done more or been at a different place. And because we're not there, we start to get these negative associations, these negative feelings that come into place from this. And a lot of it's because at some point our egos take over. Our egos were never designed to run the show. Ego is a personality component that does keep us safe. Ego is how we identify to the outside world. And we've twisted this and made it so that anyone with an ego is a bad person. No, we all have egos. Every human being who functions with a personality has an ego. And it is what keeps a lot of things moving. But when the ego starts to get overgrown, when the ego is running the show, that's when there starts to be these negative associations. And guess what? We all have times where our ego is running the show. As much as it's easy to point fingers at someone who seems egotistical, we all do it. We all live out of our ego at different times in our life. And for some of us, it's become our only default ability. We have no idea how to live from our soul because we're so used to the ego running the show. Because that's how we're taught and told. That's where these expectations come from. I deserve this because I've done this, or because I expected it. That is very ego-driven. When you are able to live from within your soul, and you are here to just experience life as a soul on earth, you open yourself up to so many more possibilities. You approach every day with this sense of wonder and innocence and gratitude. And you start to see life for what it is. You start to see how amazing life gets to be. This is what starts to help you live the life that you've truly imagined. When you can drop ego expectations and you can start to live from within your soul, from within that place in you that is here to just experience and to say, okay, this is a neat set of circumstances. I'm sure that somewhere within me, I have the strength, I have the courage, I have the clarity, I have the knowledge to get through this problem. And we don't let it crumble our entire worlds. We're able to say, okay, soul, this is something that's come up. How do we move through this? It is truly such a much better way to approach life, a better way to live, because when you aren't dealing with unmet expectations and you hold no expectations for the day, everything that comes in is a huge gift. Everything that comes in is the surprise that you were waiting for, is an opportunity that you didn't see coming, is truly a miracle. It's magic because you don't have expectations about how it's supposed to be. So all of that to say this, all the things that you want in life cannot come to you. You can't expect people to bring you love, to bring you happiness, to bring you all of these things that you want for life to just start giving you money, giving you opportunities, giving you a new house, giving you a new job, giving you success in your own job. None of these things can come to you from the outside. I want that to sink in. None of the things that you want in life can come to you from the outside until you can start to create them internally. When you can start to bring yourself love, when you can start to bring yourself this sense of accomplishment, when you can understand that when you have enough money, you have enough. When you can understand these things that come inherently from living inside of your soul area, not the ego, not what the outside world says you should have or deserve or can expect, but when you approach it from knowing internally, you are bringing forth everything out of the love you have for yourself. Watch life start to happen for you. And I know this because I've lived this. When I stopped dropping the expectation that things were going to be fair, that things were going to just happen for me because I was a good person, when I stopped feeling like, of course I deserve to be loved because I'm a human being, and I started loving myself more, love started to come into my life. I started to realize I was surrounded by love, not necessarily romantic love, but people who cared and loved me for who I was. And those people helped develop within me even more and more and more gifts and situations that led to being able to take certain steps on my own to start to attract into my life everything that I had wanted. I didn't need it to be brought to me. It came from within me. This is a really tough concept to kind of grasp if you haven't done some of this work ever. And that's why I am so passionate about showing up to teach people. You don't have to strive to get all of these things. You don't have to sit here and be upset that life hasn't happened for you yet in the way that you wanted it, or life hasn't happened to you the way you wanted it. It's happened in, kind of these really disappointing ways. When you can understand that life is always happening for you, and that from within yourself, you have the clarity, the courage, and the confidence to make these things happen for yourself based on the opportunities that are brought to you every day, that's when you start to shift. That's when you start to show up in this life that you've always imagined. That is how it happens. And really, truly, anything that you can dream up, anything that you can imagine, can absolutely happen for you. But it won't come from the outside. It's 100% an inside job. This is exactly what I am passionate about teaching inside of the Clarity, Courage, and Confidence Collective. It is to know that you have to love yourself first. You will be loved when you love yourself, because you give yourself the best love that you could ever hope for. When you love yourself with clarity, you understand who you are and what your gifts are and why you're here. You know inherently how to love yourself because of clarity. When you love yourself with courage, you know that even on dark days and even through hard times, you are more than capable of making it through. You have the courage to love yourself even if it doesn't seem like it's going to happen or like you should love yourself. When you love yourself with courage, you love yourself with this power that many people don't even come close to. When you love yourself with confidence, you show up in those gifts. You show up ready to give yourself everything that you need and spread it around. You have confidence that things are always working out for you, that life is happening for you, not to you. When you are able to love yourself with clarity, courage, and confidence, watch your life change. Watch it change. It is a law. It is just a universal law that when you start to love yourself and you drop the egoic expectations and you drop the sense that anyone owes you anything and you drop the sense that you owe anyone else anything, things come to you. Things happen for you because there's no more expectations on that. That is exactly what we're creating in the Clarity, Courage, and Confidence Collective is this energy that helps to move things forward My clients that I've been working with one-on-one into this group coaching now, where we're working on goals, we're working on things that some of these women had never even thought were possible for them, are right around the corner, right? Like, they are happening, and it's dreaming even bigger goals and reaching even further. This is what starts to happen when women show up to love themselves first. Drop the expectations, drop the egoic sense that life is supposed to show up for us in a certain way. Drop the negative emotions that happen to that, or better yet, turn those negative emotions into positive ones. Allow the anger to come up and become love. Allow the shame and the guilt to come up and become peace and joy and calmness. It really can and does happen that easy. But you have to undo a whole lot of the old stories, the old expectations. That's what I wanted to talk about today. I am so truly so passionate about helping women learn what self-love is, what it can do for you, and how it is the way that you start to live whatever kind of life you imagine for yourself. Maybe it's just having a little more peace in your home. Maybe it's falling head over heels in love with a man after a horrible divorce situation where you didn't think it was ever going to happen for you. Maybe it is settling into a career that lifts you up and fills you up and fills your bank account up. Money isn't bad. It's okay to want more money as part of the life you've always imagined. And there's a whole lot of money mindset stuff that we do, and I've touched a little bit on it with some of these lives, but money is not inherently bad. It's okay to want more money as long as it has a purpose. When you want to just hoard money in a bank account, it doesn't have a purpose. It's not going to come to you just to sit in an account. So when you want more money, be more generous. Give it a purpose. I'm not saying go give it all away, but have a purpose and a meaning behind what you want. Whether it's love, whether it's a job, whether it's peace in the home, whatever it is, give it a purpose. Only you can decide that. And if you need help knowing that, feeling into that, learning through that, you have to sign up for the collective. This is what I'm here on earth to do, is to help other women discover their gifts, learn how to love themselves, and start changing the world, because it does start with us. One at a time, healing ourselves, healing the people around us, and healing the world because of the love that we start bringing into it. I know that this program is life-changing. I know that it is the steps that so many people haven't heard and need to hear and need to get into. It is truly a life-changing program for anyone and everyone who's ready to say yes. Maybe that's you. Maybe you have been on the fence. You've heard me kind of talking about it. Let's talk. If you aren't 100% sure and you are firmly on the fence about the program, you're firmly on the fence about, I'm ready for more in my life. I'm ready to love myself in that way and watch my life transform. Watch my marriage get back to a loving marriage, or get off the dating carousel and find the man who I wanted to love me in the way that I feel like I deserve. Maybe it is starting your own business and watching it grow and be successful. I have helped so many women start to do that. That lights me up. That fills me up, because you have gifts. I don't care who you are, what you know, where you've been. You have gifts that the world needs. You absolutely are here to shine that light. Let's start to uncover that light together. Let's start to get you living this life the way that you imagine it, not through the drudgery of unmet expectations and depression and anxiety and worry about how you look and how you're showing up and where, the next great miraculous opportunity is going to come from. Create those opportunities, because you have that ability, because you show up and you love yourself with clarity, with courage, and with confidence. And when you do that, the world starts to change. So that's what I wanted to leave you with today. I would love to continue this conversation with anyone who has questions about it. If it's starting to resonate with you, let's start talking. Let's start doing the things. Let's start loving ourselves. Join us in the self-love challenge. There's posts about it every day for the month of March. Just simple little questions every day to get you thinking of more ways you can learn to love yourself. And if you know someone else who needs to be in this group with us, invite them. I'd love to have that. In fact, I would love it if 10 people invited 10 other people. That would be amazing. It just starts with scrolling down your friends list and saying, you need to hear this, and we need to do this together, and we need to have this sisterhood of learning to love ourselves. Women can be the meanest people to each other. Let's drop that. Let's drop the meanness. Let's drop the expectations. Let's drop the sense that we're not good enough, that we're not enough, and start coming together and building each other up and helping each other see you are lovable. I love you. I want nothing but the best for you. Whoever you are, however you came to this group, however you are showing up right now, I know that there's so much more out there for you. Let's uncover it together. Take the first step and say, yes, I'm in. What do I do? Where do I go? Send me a message. Let's do this. So invite your friends, join the self-love challenge, and come join us in the Clarity, Courage, and Confidence Collective. We are starting another round of it in a week. So you have about 7 days total, including the weekend, to figure out how you're going to say yes for yourself, because you are so worth it. And as always, if you have thoughts about reality TV shows like Love is Blind, we should also talk. But more importantly, let's get you into the CCC Collective. Let's start changing your life one day at a time, one way of learning to love yourself at a time, because you are going to change the world when you love yourself passionately. It's just going to happen, I promise. I love you. I'm here to believe in you. Let's do this thing. Have a great Tuesday, and I'll be back with some more self-love tips later. Have a good day. Bye.
Thanks again for listening to this episode of Terra Talking. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Find me pretty much everywhere on the interwebs as @Terra Talking, that's TerraTalking, or at my blog, terratalking.com. Your reviews, comments, and shares are always so appreciated. May you prosper well as you live your most passionate, purposeful life this week. And as always, keep on keeping on.